Hey everyone, this is Disc Junkie, and welcome back to the Mancave of Madness. So today I'm standing in the red room, or the home studio where I tend to shoot my videos. And today I thought we would actually focus a bit on the studio part of this room, because I've been using this table for quite a while. I have this white backdrop curtain that I tend to pull down and put on the table, and it's a doable solution. But one of the things which I have been considering for the longest time is that maybe I should have some sort of a shelf situation running over this sort of part of the curtain. Like, I have these two shelves here, and I felt that it would be kind of nice to get some more shelving space here, sort of in front of the curtain. And I know this will partially obstruct the window and the whole thing, but I don't really care. I mean, look at it the way it is now. I essentially have this curtain which is essentially covering a window, which isn't very big. But I mean, even with the table, I'm already sort of having this in front, and I tend to always have the curtain down anyway. So yeah, I honestly don't really care about this. So I just want to utilize some new shelf space. And there's also another part of this, which is that I tend to shoot my videos using this tripod, and I have this light at the top, which is like a sort of studio lamp that I found at a secondhand shop. And it's just, I don't really know anything about lighting. I just thought it looked cool, so that's what I tend to use to light my videos. However, the other day, or yesterday actually, I was at another secondhand shop and I found this LED light, or LED panel, which is something known as the Godox LED P260C. I'm not super sort of versed in the world of LED lights, but I did a quick Google on this. It cost me 45 euro roughly, and they tend to go for upwards to 100 to 150 euro. So I thought it was kind of a bargain, given that it will still have some life left in it. But I mean, overall, it seems like a pretty good deal and quite a high quality product. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that you will buy at like high-end sort of photo stores. So I mean, yeah, just like I said, the panel tends to cost around 150 euro. So it's not like it's a, it's a pretty good high-end type product if you're just an amateur shooting YouTube videos. So I picked this up. Hopefully it will have some life in it. I tested it out, it does work. As for how it would actually perform in terms of lighting my videos, I don't really know. But I'm sure it was a decent purchase regardless. I might be able to sell it, who knows. But so the point is that I've been thinking about actually adjusting my lighting situation for the longest time, because this light isn't really optimal and it's not the best position. And I've sort of been wanting to make a studio type environment where I can light something directly from above, but I don't really have any sort of good position to place something. And I have a ceiling, a small hook there, but this ceiling isn't really good for mounting, at least not mounting anything heavy like the lamp I got on there. So I'm hoping I can maybe add a shelving here and then add a mounting solution for the new light that I have, and maybe get the other light in there as well if I need it. But yeah, so I'm rambling a bit, but that is essentially the project for today. We're going to build a shelf to put up here and make some sort of a mounting situation for the new light. Now, I thought we would actually take a very simple route as far as doing this, because I have this thing, which is essentially an old Benno CD tower or CD shelf from IKEA. And I know this might not be the obvious solution to my problem, but I'm thinking I'm going to take a fairly simple route to begin with. And we're actually going to use this shelf, but we're going to place it on the wrong side. So I'm actually going to lay this shelf on top of these other shelves, just like a big, long sort of board across. And then I will essentially be able to display stuff both on top and also in the portion here where I'm thinking I might play some action figures. I don't really know, because this is obviously too small to stack videotapes or DVDs or whatnot, but I'm sure I can find a nice purpose for it. And the other good thing about this is that this shelf is actually, if you're looking at the measurements, you actually have this, which is a divider, which is obviously a vertical divider, but it's going to be a horizontal divider for me. This is actually positioned in the center of the shelf, given that you remove this end portion. So if you cut this off, you will actually end up with a completely symmetrical shelf, which looks very square, very sort of minimalistic. And I'm thinking that might actually do the trick on top of these shelves. So that's what we're gonna do. So start off by just sawing this off. We're gonna place it and see how it looks. And then we're just gonna take it from there. So yeah, let's go. So this is what I've come up with so far, and what I did is that I went into my garage, started digging around for some sort of metal pipe or something that I could use to essentially mount this little top portion, which is what's actually holding the sort of light panel. And so I realized that I actually had this thing, which is a very solid metal pipe, and I think it's actually a metal handle originally, I'm not really sure, but it's just one of these various pieces of junk that I have in my garage. And then I took some of these very sort of common metal strips. I put some small screws through them, and this doesn't really need to support a whole lot of weight, but I mean, it's pretty solid, it's pretty much on there. And the reason why I picked this particular pipe was because it's actually the exact right fit for this top portion. So yeah, now I have this, and I'm figuring I'm going to mount this like that. I can still rotate it if I want to, and then you can just use the little side screw here to essentially fixate it, and you can also pivot it using this thing. So yeah, feeling really good about this. It's maybe not 100% centered, but it's pretty close. I'm pretty sure it will work, even though it might be a little bit off. I think it's gonna be okay. So let's go ahead and place this on top and just see what it looks like. And then we're gonna place some stuff in here. We're gonna test out the light, and yeah, let's just go. So I just finished my time lapse, and I essentially put all the stuff into the shelves. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and flip the camera to show you in a bit more detail. And I decided to sort of rethink my overall layout of this room, basically just by moving all of the little action figures that I had strewn about. And you remember previously when we started out, I essentially had all of these sort of action figures, kind of like this one, but they were loose, and I had essentially positioned them just next to all of the little genre signs that I have for all these sort of action, adventure, alternate future, you know. So I had little action figures all around the room, sort of representing each of these categories. But putting up this new shelf, I realized that this was actually a very nice place to just display all the figures in one go. And this is something which I also drew a bit of an inspiration from my friend Fred. You might remember that I've visited him a couple of times, and he also has like this sort of pop culture type shrine with all of these various toys and action figures just compiled into one place. And that's one sort of thing that I haven't really done before in terms of display purposes. So I felt really excited about trying this out, and this is essentially what I went for. So now you can see that I've moved stuff about. I did decide to place some of these genre signs here on a small top shelf, which I'm not really 100% if I'm gonna keep it this way. I might move this down, but I really feel that this works. And I also think that it sort of makes the shelf come alive in a very nice way. So just going in for a bit of a closer look, you can see that we have all of these figures from all sorts of categories and shapes and sizes. We got like Ghostbusters figures, there's He-Man figures, there's like the Battle Beast or the Laser Beast figures. We got Domo-kun, there's Star Wars, there's Simpsons, got wrestling figures, like the weirdo Robocop clones, and got little Grogu, we got sort of zombie gnomes, there's all kinds of stuff going on. And moving over here, we have even more figures. Here we got some of these classic toys from my childhood that I really like to display. We have various sort of sets for Alien. I also got the Alien head up here, which I have to say it's one of the most difficult to display items in my collection, just because it's really big and long and it's sort of hard to position on a shelf because it needs a bit of depth unless you're going to display it like sideways, which I always thought looked a bit weird. But I think it works here. I would like to have something similar on that side. Now I just have little Grogu, but it would be nice to have something which sort of stands out in the same way as the alien head, because as you know, I do like a bit of symmetry, as you can see. I've also tried to made some symmetrical feels here up with placing some big boxes here. I don't have anything in the center, but that's partially because it is obstructed by the light panel, which I've now actually positioned. And there you can see the little mounting construction that I showed you previously, and that's sort of what it ended up with. But that's also part of why I don't keep a boxes in the middle, because it's a bit hard to position, and I also have these sort of mounting brackets there which are a bit in the way. So yeah, maybe I could place something there right behind it, but I haven't really elaborated on that, because when you're standing in the room, you gotta be honest that you don't really see too much of it. It's kind of obstructed there. And now I also have my tripod here, which I tend to use for lighting my videos. Like I mentioned, I usually used to use this one in the past, so I can mount this on top of the tripod if I want to, but right now I'm actually experimenting, and I decided to make use of this cheap variation light ring, which is an LED light ring. And I know you're supposed to shoot like through the center, but I decided to shoot from down here instead, but that's just my personal preference. And I have to say that this is just a test now, but I'm trying the LED panel that I bought together with this, and this is primarily because I wanted to get a better sort of tint on my light, because the whole sort of old one which I use, which is over here, this is very much a yellow tint, whereas these ones are much more bluish, and I really like the bluish tint because I feel that it's a much more professional looking lighting situation. But that's just my personal opinion, you know. It doesn't really mean anything, but to me, I really like to shoot with a bluish tint and sort of a coal type color when I'm shooting my videos, which I'm sure you've realized by now, at least as far as making my sort of POV type reviews when I just handle boxes. And here's some stuff I'm planning to shoot next. I got some Mindhunter stuff coming up for you, but yeah, so generally I'm feeling quite happy with this. I am doing some tests and I feel that the light is pretty good using these two lights. I do get some glare, but that's always difficult when you're trying to shoot an angle and sort of getting the reflection right and everything. But yeah, overall, I gotta say that this new display shelf is actually a really nice project. I am definitely really enjoying the look of this. If you just look at it from when you're coming into the room, I think that this really works as a presentation. It's nice to get something up in the middle there, because, you know, like it was in the past, I felt that it was very sort of empty space that I didn't utilize. Now it feels like a much more sort of tied together experience. I don't know, but yeah, I really do like the approach, and I like all the little placement of the figures, because when I had them all around the room, I do feel that things became a bit, I don't know what I want to say, but it felt like things were a bit in disarray, like there were just too much stuff everywhere. And now the figures are much more sort of centered in one place, which I think is actually a nicer way, because it feels much more organized. When I had them sort of strewn about, it felt like the whole room was just, I don't know, just like someone didn't clean it, like there was just stuff everywhere, and it was sort of hard to see a pattern as to what I was trying to do. But now when I have all the figures in one place, it feels much more organized and much more professional looking, I think. But in any case, that is essentially it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think about the new setup. And well, as usual, I'll see you all next time.